I've been thinking a lot about dovetailing. So I'm gonna show you tonight that little thing that I'm really trying to focus on and nail in order to cut fine dovetails. But I'm not gonna show you cutting these little ones because it's hard for me to explain. I'm gonna show you cutting some real dovetails.
Oh my word.
I wanna show...
Like a big Jenga.
Yeah, I can explain this better with a larger format. So I want to explain exactly what's going on and how you can cut great dovetails at a smaller scale. Now this is pine, it's 1.5 inches thick, and it's almost 8 inches wide. We'll take it right from the beginning. Now normally, when marking through dovetails, you set a marking gauge. I like using these cutting gauges. It has a little knife actually on the end. It's not a pin, so it slices better across the grain. So I'm just gonna take the marking gauge and set it up so the knife just barely overlaps the piece. See how I come down and you can see that little knife point right there? It's just overlapping. So that's got the exact thickness of my workpiece. So these are gonna completely interlock. So this one's gonna come through that way and it'll be the full depth or thickness of the opposite piece. So I've got a knife right around here now that I've got the thickness, that depth of that other dovetail. So let's see, I'm gonna put it this way. I guess you can see this, right? I'm gonna keep the fence against the end and score right on across. I'm just trying to drag it so that that knife slices. This white pine is soft. And I'm gonna go right around the ends to make these honking dovetails. And right there, okay, good. All right, so now I've got that all marked out. Now let's go ahead and mark our dovetails. I'm just gonna come in a little over 7/8, 15/16. This is just for fun, obviously. I don't have any purpose for this. And then I'll find the center. So that's right here. And I'm gonna make this gap between the tails 1.25 inches. So let's go 5/8 each side. There it is. All right, now I'm gonna take my bevel gauge, which is set to about a 1/5 slope. So I'm gonna mark out my dovetails. I know I got one there going that way, and then one here. So 1/5 just means over 5 inches of length, the slope rises 1 inch, okay? A 1/8 is it rises 1 inch over 8 inches of length, so that's a shallower slope. If you want a more, whoops, I almost did that wrong way. If you want a more dramatic slope, you can make it less than 1/5, so a 1/4 would make even stronger angles. All right, so there, we've got that. Now I'm gonna be sawing away this and this and this, okay? These are called the tails. If you've never seen a dovetail, see how they flare? They're a lot like a dove's tail flaring. This is going to be negative space where the other one's gonna come through and interlock, and those will be called the pins. All right, so I've got the angles made, but here is the real kicker, all right? This is the key to great dovetails. That is being square across the board, okay? It's so easy to get distracted and excited about the angles. Those are not really that important. What's really important is that you are cutting these square across the top. So I've got a good square here. I'm gonna just set my pencil. I honestly haven't used this square much, but I'm starting to get used to it. It's so nice, it's got that little lip on it. You get used to that after a while, because not many squares have that. I'm gonna just set it right there. See that? Now, those are dead square across, and I'm gonna be taking this out and this out. Now, when I saw my focus is not so much on the angle here, because whatever angle I get, fine, we're just going to transfer that shape. My focus is on square, because if I'm not square, it's going to be a fight to fit them, okay? So I'm going to just get this in the vise. I'll stick it in this way. I don't usually do this, but this is a big honking piece here. This is real woodworking. I'm going to turn my little light on over here so I can see. Is that better? Mm-hmm. All right. So I'm going to get out my dovetail saw. You know, I started out with material that was 2 inches thick, and I was almost ready to demo it. And I measured my saw, good thing, at the last minute, and realized it can only do just over 1.5 inches. So I had to thickness this down to 1.5 inches. So I'm going to need that, and I'm going to use my crosscut saw. All right, so here we go. This is like a zoomed in version of cutting the tails. Very critical. I'm going to start on this corner. I just hold my thumb there and then gently draw it back. Okay, so you create a little notch. And I'm on the waist side of the line. And now I just start going forward. Now look, the saw, I'm going to drop it right over that line. Very key to just stay on that. Now I'm kind of holding an angle, but I don't really care if the saw falls off the angle. I want to stay square. Beautiful. All right, I'm going to stay with that same angle. It helps with repetition. Okay, I'm going to just leave the pencil line here, because that's how I started. Okay, I'm not twisting or anything. I'm just letting it ride. Now the other side. I'm going to just slope it. The same thing. And now, again. Can you see it dropping over the line?
I can. It's a pretty...
I thought you were on the other side of the saw. You said that like you were getting into it. All right, this one I didn't cut
into it.
I didn't cut as steep, but that's okay. I'm just going to stay with whatever angle this is. The beauty of these is that someday when your grandchildren or the historians see it, they'll say, those are hand-cut dovetails. I can tell because that guy screwed it up. All right, so then I'm going to go right down the line. That looks pretty good. All right, there we go. Now, if this were a small piece of wood, it would be easy to turn. But here again, I'm going to cut and I'll be square again here. So I'm going to get it into the vise. Okay. Now, I'm using my square to hold this plumb. That helps you to cut true and square. So now I'm going across this little line, this knife line. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Oh, good. All right, so I'm going to use my crosscut saw. And again, on the waist side of the line, I'll just draw it to me. Right, I'm going to try to cut right to that knife line. Again, nice and light. Nice and light touch here. And I'm just letting that baby ride. Okay, now before I move it, I'm going to take advantage of this and clean up down into that corner.
The big chisel.
I need a bigger chisel. I'm using the
big
1 inch tonight, all right? All right, now we're going to flip. Let's get the other side. All right, I'm going to start moving and talking. I can see it takes a little longer to make big dovetails.
It's hard to fit everything inside of the camera.
Oh, all right, here we go. Another time on the waist side of the line.
Tom, when you say drop it, are you lifting your hand to make the front of the saw drop?
I guess I am a little bit, yeah. Yeah, just want to sight it. And then I'm going straight down on the line, trying to stay really plumb right there too. And that's a plumb good cut right there. Okay. Now, once again, I'm going to clean up in here. Chisel. Now on a small scale, you know, I can usually tell you, oh, that's good. But let's just check for square. That's pretty square.
Nice.
Perfect.
Actually,
it's a
these
little...
we can see. Most of the time, we can't see them.
No hiding with these dovetails. All right, so now I'm going to get out that middle. I'll just take a coping saw and pull it toward me. Now, you only want to do this if you can cope.
Gosh.
All right, I'm coming close to the line over here. I hope I'm not below the line over there. Okay, that's good. All right, there we go. Now we're gonna just chop out that middle area. So I just need my 1-inch chisel.
It's like a massive puzzle piece.
Yeah, I usually would clamp this down, but it has a lot of weight, so it's kind of staying right where I want it. All right, I'm just gonna put that chisel right in the knife line.
Oh. Can't
What?
really see.
I'm sorry, I kind of got to put my hand there. All right, so I'm just standing off to the side here. Maybe you should get on my right. I should just keep going. So I'm just gonna use the back wall as a guide and flip.
Andrew's curious if you also do dovetails on the bandsaw or the table saw.
I have, yeah. I mean, we've shown that in some courses. I almost wanted to show you on the table saw, but then I thought, well, that's not going to be as fun because I'm usually showing you how to hand cut them. So here we go. Now I'm going to go straight down or undercut it a little bit. So that's what we do. We come from both sides like this to clean out that middle area. All right, that's it. I'm going to cut
Is your dovetail saw cross cut or, let's see, I lost the rip or cross cut, sorry guys.
Well, a dovetail saw by nature is always a rip cut because when you're cutting dovetails, your primary angle of cut is a rip cut. See, I was ripping coming down, right down the end, and then I'll be ripping when I cut the other one. The only cross cut is that little cross at the end there. All right, so I'm just going to clean up into the corners here, and this is what we do on a small scale, but we're just trying to give that a nice negative space in there, okay? Now, this is a good time to check the square. So I've got my little square here, so we'll put that on there, and it's pretty close. I'm a little bit high on this point. So when you see that, this is why if you do drift a little in the sawing, you want to take your chisel and you're just going to lightly pare the high side, okay? This is really important. It's all about square, okay? That looks good. I'll take that. Now let's try it this side. Side looks good here, and then it just goes up a little at the end. So I'm going to take my chisel and just let it come down and just take a little on that side at the end.
Do you remember the teeth per inches on the saw, Tom?
I will tell you in a second. I think it's 15, but...
And did you say something about the distinction between a crosscut and a dovetail? Did you just answer that?
It's just the geometry of the teeth, really, which is hard to describe without,
Showing it.
well, getting into the weeds.
Okay.
Okay, look there, nice and square. So this is really what you need, is to have this good and square. I'm going to just touch that one a little bit.
Is there an advantage to using a dovetail saw or a pole saw?
The rip teeth is the advantage. So it's a rip cut, so you're giving yourself a better advantage using the rip teeth, okay? So let me,
Oh, lots of saw questions.
yeah.
Difference between a coping saw and a fret saw.
Fret saws are finer. They're, if you're fretting, you should try to cope. Wow, I never thought of that
Oh
one.
my gosh. Everybody, you're free to go.
No fret.
Oh my gosh.
All right, this is a no fret zone. I'm always just trying to cope.
Tim's asking, I've heard if your cuts stray left or right, when cutting you should change your stance. Have you found that that works?
What are you saying to him? He's saying him, my cuts are straying? Yeah, I think when you start out, you definitely want to try to, everything's about alignment, and it's like just a light touch. When you're forcing the saw, it tends to go off more easily. There's a lot of factors get into it. But there we have it, our teeth. Now let's cut the opposite. I'm going to really try to do this fast.
Yeah.
What?
I said you better.
I better, because I'm starting to fret. I'm going to hold this up a little bit from the table. And now,
Oh my gosh. I've got a question. Michael's saying, do you ever put a rebate on the inside of the tailboard? I think the word
Yes.
might not be, is rebate the right word?
yeah, I didn't want to do that in this case, but yeah, I do that. Actually, I can tell you're not in the bow front class, Michael. Maybe you are, but you missed that part, because that's exactly what we did on our top divider to register it.
Well, he may be in it, but he might not be watching
Everyone.
right on time.
Yeah, I think, anyway. All right, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to get my marking knife and knife down. Straight down, and over here. And see, the marking knife rests flat against the tail. That gives you a perfect register. See that? Nice. Boy, is that, I've never had shown you that amount of detail. And now when I remove it, I can see the knife cuts, and I'm going to remove this area this time. This knife cut's pretty light, but
Yeah,
it's
harder
there.
to see.
It's there, see? See it? So I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to put it right up. Well, let's do it this way, because we've got to get those lines in there. And once again, this is all about square, okay? So I'm going to set the pencil right there at the knife cut. And I've got to get these plumb nice and square to the surface.
Alan's asking if there's ever a time when a dovetail jig is preferable to hand cut. And you have a lot of them, probably.
Well, you know, technically a dovetail jig, a lot of times you can get dovetails that fit absolutely perfectly, and if you are really being scientific about it, they might even be better than hand cutting them. All right, so I'm going to take this out and this out. Okay, now let's make our straight cuts first. So I like to do this from the side that is seen. So this is the side that's seen. So I'm gonna, this way. All right, here we go with the dovetail saw. Now I gotta stay plumb here. So I'm gonna go right along the knife line. Here now I gotta stay with the knife line. I'm gonna let the saw touch into the knife line, okay? I don't wanna come back and have to chisel this. So let's see if we can get it without chiseling.
And Peter said you should resaw these pieces to make 4 sides of a box.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
This isn't going in the attic, I hope.
What do you mean? I have to keep this for show
I
and
have
tell.
a slew of people who know exactly what I mean. Okay.
It's hard to saw perfectly plumb and big stuff like this, but let's try.
Is the sawtooth, Tony's asking, is the sawtooth in the scribed cut or next to it?
It's like I start out on the waist side of it, Tony, but I'm trying to just touch it. Okay, I'm not trying to overlap it. I mean, the knife line actually has some dimension, you know, it has a little bit of width. So I start out trying to stay right to the side, and I'm just trying to touch into it. I try not to overcut it, okay?
David's asking, have you ever used a bow saw to cut dovetails?
I haven't, David, but I'd love to try that. I was a big fan of, I still am, of Frank Klaus. And I learned actually to cut dovetails from watching his videos back in the late 80s. So, but I never...
On a VHS tape.
I never got one of those bow saws. Right? All right. There we go. That's good. Now, there they are. They're all pretty plumb. This one drifted off a little bit, but I can just clean that up easily. If you're going to drift off, try not to do it in the middle of the movie. Now, if you're going to drift off, try to do it into the waist area, okay, like I did. But sometimes you can't help it. You just drift off, and you just don't know.
Get it out of your system.
Now, look, I could, let's see, I could do this all with a coping saw, but it'd be faster to use a bandsaw. So let me show you how you can use a bandsaw to get rid of waste. Now, I'm gonna cut this from the wider side of the pin so I don't cut off these pins, but I'm taking out this, okay? So let's go ahead and just saw that out. Okay.
So how many teeth per inch on a coping saw, Tom?
You can get all kinds.
Is there any way to stop that crazy thing?
I'm not sure how many teeth are on this one. This is like a medium aggressiveness. This is 15 teeth per inch, my dovetail saw. But I'm just going to finish that angle part of the cut with the coping saw because that's the advantage of the coping saw in this situation. Okay. Now I just want to, while I'm here, I'll just plumb that cut up. Here's my 1-inch. Here it is. Just going to go straight down where it seemed to have drifted a little. If I did anywhere else, that looks all, the rest of it all looks pretty good. I don't have any complaints. All right, so I just have to chisel here. So let me put a clamp on it this time. We'll get the mallet. All right, I'm gonna have to just, I don't know if you can see all this.
Go down.
I'm gonna set it right in the knife line because I got pretty close with the bandsaw. Next, this is like timber framing, but it is white pine, so it's not that hard, and it's a pleasure to actually chop. So I'm just setting it right in that knife line, trying to stay at 90 or slightly under.
Are you going to make a large chest of drawers to
Yeah.
match this?
I should make the whole drawer, right? So then I can look at it this way and see that it's plumb and it's not sticking out. That looks pretty good. Then I'll flip it. So that's what I'm doing when I'm sighting from above. I'm trying to make sure there's no material there like bumped out or it won't seat fully. On the other side.
I know this is in one of your videos, but do you hone your, let's see, do you finish your chisel honing on 10,000 or higher?
Oh, I never go more than 10. That's a lot. In fact, for a few years, when I started, the finest I had was like a 6. Then I got an 8, and then I got one of those Oishi 10,000 stones from Lee Nielsen, and man, that's a beautiful stone. You might get a little tear out on the end grain, but that is not a big deal. I don't ever worry about that. Okay, I'm setting it right. All right, let's see how we did. I gotta just make sure it's all this material is cleaned out down in the corner. See, this is what we're usually doing on a very small scale, but just getting all that out of there.
The concept.
See? How can I throw this out? It's so useful. I think I should
Turn your head.
I should make a bigger one.
Turn and look away.
I have to thank it for first.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty nice. And let's just check one last thing. You know, I could check the squareness by using this little square. You know, you could come in here and check your sidewalls that way. That one looks great. That one's a little bit under, but that's nice. All right, so I think we've got it. That looks pretty sweet. Just making sure nothing's bumped up there. If you put a flat, straight edge there and it's rocking, then you have a bump. But okay, so this is the starred one. This is the one we use. So I like to do it down into the table. All right, so here we are. This is the one we just fitted. Here's the pins. See if it lines up.
No pressure.
No. There it goes. I think we can get a swell factor with the glue. Let me tap it in.
Nice. Nice.
Look at that. It's a little proud. Now that's a honking through dovetail. Now the key to this though was, remember, I didn't stress that I was going off the line. Like this one's not as steep, but I want to stay true 90 as far as front to back. So these are good 90. If that's at all towed in when you mark it, the tail acts like a wedge when you drive it in. So it wedges and it just jams up and stops. If you had it the other way and it was wider, I'm talking about this section right here. If you made that tail wider here than here, you weren't square, when it went in, it would be gappy right here. So it's really key that that's true 90. And then when you make your pin cuts, you're plumb on those too. Let's throw a little water on it, see if it makes it pop out anymore. Plus it'll swell and kill any joints we have, any gaps. There it is. That's pretty cool, huh?
Very nice.
Don't even need glue. All right, so there you have it. The inside method. I called it a secret. It's not really a secret, but it is actually my main focus when I'm cutting dovetails. Not the angles, but the squareness front to back. Hey, if you enjoy that content, consider subscribing, but better yet, head on over to epicwoodworking.com, become a neighbor, move in. You're hanging out at the shop long enough. You need to, you need to move to the neighborhood. Yes. Any other questions?
No, we're good.
All right, everyone. Hey, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We love doing this. It doesn't work if you're not there. So
right.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for supporting us, being a part of what we're doing here. On behalf of the camera lady and myself, look forward to seeing you next time right back here on Shop Night Live.
Oh.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
I'm keeping this.
See you later. Oh my gosh.